Animal abuse is a problem across the country, and Nebraska is no exception. That's according to a study that says Nebraska has some of the worst dog breeders in the U.S. Fox 42's Cindy Coates investigates some of these so-called puppy mills, and she uncovers laws not being enforced by the state, abused dogs in terrible condition, and a terrible outlook when it comes to making things better. Animal activists say the state is just slapping these dog breeders on the wrists when they should be taking their licenses and dogs away.
And they're much closer to Omaha than you might think. I'm at a local shelter that rescues puppy mill dogs, just like this guy right here. And folks here tell me the conditions at some of these places are just gut-wrenching. And they say the fact the state allows these places to continue to operate is even worse.
One breeder in Nebraska handed us a little dachshund puppy in the palm of her hand. And she said, here, if you want him, you can have him. If not, I'm just going to club him over the head, because he had a deformed front paw. Well, of course, we took him.
Lori Hook is the vice president of Hearts United for Animals. It's a no-kill shelter dedicated to rescuing puppy mill dogs in Nebraska. Hook says the condition some of these dogs are in is unimaginable.
This poor little guy had a broken jaw when he came to us and lost most all of his teeth. He also had a tumor.
And she says the state is not holding these dog breeders accountable.
The guidelines are in place, they're just not enforced.
I asked the Department of Agriculture to send me its inspections of dog breeders in the Omaha area. Here's what I uncovered. No water, no food, dogs eating feces because they don't have enough food, no bedding in 4-degree temperature, piles of feces in pens, large dogs without space to move, not enough employees to take care of dogs. Dogs do not appear to be in good condition, and just last month, one puppy died due to hypothermia. Kristen Cam works for the Nebraska Department of Agriculture. That's the state agency that's supposed to prevent this kind of thing. I asked why these dog breeders are allowed to still have licenses after all the violations. This is what she said.
I don't know that I want to get into that. I don't like to talk about specific cases. I'd rather just stick to the actual program.
Hook says this is not acceptable. She says these dogs have been abused and the state is doing nothing about it.
They've been bred over and over again, so they have a lot of medical conditions. Typically, teeth are completely rotting. Oftentimes they can barely even eat their food because their teeth are so horrible.
Cam says the inspectors are just following the laws.
All state laws are ran through the Nebraska legislation, and so legislators would be the ones that would be able to change those laws.
I tried calling some of the breeders to ask them about their violations, but no answer. A few weeks later, I tried calling again, but still nothing. Since the breeders won't answer my phone calls, I decided to come and visit this facility. It's just a few miles outside of Omaha. Now, it's a little hard to see the kennels from the road, but if you listen, you can still hear the dogs barking. I tried to see if this breeder would talk about the violations, but
no, not at this time, but thank you anyway.
This is video taken from another Nebraska puppy mill. And these are all dogs rescued from breeders around the state. They have broken jaws, missing eyes, and some you can hardly recognize.
Some of the hernias are as big as a grapefruit, on these dogs. All of their muscle walls have torn and their internal organs just fall out into a huge hernia sac.
Hook says she's going to continue to fight for these dogs, even though the state isn't.
We're just glad that they're here. We're glad that we were able to rescue them. But it's also sad because we know there are thousands more out there that need to be rescued, and really without, without legislation being enforced, it's just very difficult.
And Kristen Cam with the Department of Agriculture told me she's not surprised a few kennels have trouble following the law. She says with so many kennels, a few will struggle with complying. In Auburn, Cindy Coates, Fox 42 News.
There are more than 200 dog breeders in Nebraska and 3 state inspectors. By law, the Department of Agriculture says it has to inspect the facilities once every 2 years. We posted this story on the Fox 42 News Facebook page, and many people say something needs to be done about the puppy mills now. Christina Thompson says breeding all these dogs when most responsible dog owners already have all the dogs they can manage means an early death for most of these puppies. They're being exploited for the money that a puppy can bring. Diane Pierce posted, until the lawmakers get off their butts and make these puppy mills illegal, this type of treatment will continue. And Terry Schreiber wrote, the lawmakers turning blind eyes in similar living quarters see how long they last. Don't allow them, period. Thank you to everyone who posted.